How you guys doing? Long time no see. I think this is actually the first video I've recorded in this room. Uh, this is my new apartment, so hope you guys like it. It actually looks pretty similar to my dorm room, which I filmed videos in a couple years ago. But it's good to see you guys again. I don't remember the last time I actually made a video, which is odd, but I'm glad to be back. And I knew that with how busy I am, and I don't need to get into all that, um, that it would take something like this for me to talk about, for me to come back. And I plan on never truly stopping to make videos, but I'd love coming back whenever I can get the chance, and here's one of those opportunities. For those of you who can tell, I'm wearing a Washington Wizards t-shirt. I actually am a huge NBA fan, and I'm not a fair weather fan at all. It's just really great to see the Wizards back in the playoffs for the first time since 2008. So even though we lost tonight to the Bulls, we're still up 2-1. Hopefully we can get the win on Game 4 on Sunday. Or actually, it's going to be tomorrow by when a lot of you see this. But with that said, I want to get into the War of the Worlds show for Ring of Honor. Announced its card. And I really want to go over it with what they announced and talk about it a little bit and get your guys' thoughts on everything that's been announced. I will actually be there. My first Ring of Honor show since Death Before Dishonor 11 back in Philly in last September, and my first show in New York since, I want to say, Final Battle 2011. Yeah, it's got to be Final Battle 2011 where Dan Severn was there with Davey versus Eddie, and both of them are no longer in the company. So you can tell how much Ring of Honor has changed even since then. So let's just get right into it. The first match that was announced actually was Okada and Elgin, and I found it very interesting that they put those two together because Elgin is a guy who I always thought could work that New Japan style and really work well against a lot of their heavyweight division. And if I could pick one guy to pair against Elgin from that roster and put on the best match possible, especially against an American crowd, it would have been Kazuchika Okada. And I'm really glad I can see these two fight live. It is for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, so it probably will be Okada winning unless they pull a shocker here. I really wouldn't see why Elgin will come out with it, but I think Elgin can really pull the power game with Okada, and now Okada can really use his offense well against a guy like Elgin, and it should be one hell of a match. I'm really excited to see it. I think it probably will go on last, as it should. I mean, the other world title match on the show is going to be the winner of Cole Steen, which I see being Cole, against Jushin Liger, and I really don't see that being a match that should go on after something like Okada and Elgin. So that's probably the match I'm actually expecting the most out of. And I think it will deliver, and it should be one of many great matches on this show. And then I'll get right into the other world title match, Cole versus Liger. What I think is going to be Cole versus Liger. If it's Steen versus Liger, and part of the reason is I think the matchups work better if Steen were to lose in Toronto. And I really do think he will, because I don't think Steen's the right guy to take the belt off of Cole at all. It probably will actually end up being Michael Elgin, which he deserves, and I'd like to see him as champion. But I really do think Cole can benefit from a couple more title defenses. Just his work on ROH TV and the shows I've seen, he deserves a little bit longer of a reign to truly round out what he truly can accomplish as Ring of Honor World Champion. I saw him win it in Philly at the tournament, and then he turned heel, and I really want to see what else he can bring to the table. And the match against Liger, I think, will be a Japanese legend being the face against a guy like Cole, and should play off really well live. I think there's gonna be a lot of not a WWE-esque match, but a lot more crowd interaction in this match than probably many others on the show, and I think that's going to really work well. And I think that'll bring a different element to it. Maybe pace down the crowd before an Okada Elgin main event, and I think it should be a good match. I mean, Cole necessarily doesn't have that style down to a T, because I think he would be in the junior heavyweight division in Japan, even though Liger probably is a junior heavyweight. I don't know how much his weight fluctuates throughout his career. I don't know exactly where he's at now, but I think those two can probably put on a really good match together. And then there's there's the ROH World Tag Team title match. Young Bucks, Red Dragon. These two have had matches in the past, and they've all been good. I'm expecting nothing different here. I really do think that these two can have some chemistry. Maybe get. I think this can be a little bit spot happy because I think a lot of these other matches on the show are not going to be that spot happy. So the Young Bucks have wrestled many matches with their offense that can be really great and spot happy at the same time. And I think with how Red Dragon O'Reilly's offense really does work well with that. Fish is a little bit more technical, so maybe that'll be a fresh thing to bring with the other three who can do the spot happy things. But that's where O'Reilly actually comes into play, and it's probably going to be the X factor of this match because he can probably do both. He has those high impact maneuvers and has those really great moveset that reminds you of a Davey Richards, but also has that technical ability, a little bit of a Kurt Angle in him, and then also has the, I just say the absolute just daring ability of someone like a, not necessarily Shawn Michaels, but has just that, maybe I guess like a Daniel Bryan in a sense that they can just is fearless and can try things that you won't even think of in the ring. So I think that'll be a really, really good match as well. Then you got Bullet Club of Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows in WWE versus the Briscoe Brothers. I think that putting the Briscoe Brothers against the tag team champions is a great move. I mean, the Briscoe Brothers, for all intents and purposes, are Ring of Honor, and they are the Ring of Honor tag team. When you think of the Ring of Honor tag team division, if the first thing that doesn't come to your head is the Briscoe Brothers, then something's wrong or you haven't seen enough shows because, I mean, they've been in it since the inception. They've been around longer than any team. I believe they're now still 7-time ROH Tag Team Champions. And they really have a great grasp on what the ROH crowd wants. They are super over, always have been, and they really do a good job. And I think their styles, I mean, they were the Noah Junior Tag Team Champions at one time. And I really do think against a GHC heavyweight tag team, they can do very well. They had amazing matches with the Kings of Wrestling, and they were able to do that very well against them. So I don't see why a team that I find is pretty similar in stature to those two couldn't do the same with them. So I'm really excited to see that. Then we get Lethal versus Kushida. I thought the Time Splitters were going to come in for this show, and I get to see Alex Shelley live again. I saw him live in TNA as a member of the Motor City Machine Guns, but I haven't seen him live, I guess, in over 3 years, and in a company that wasn't TNA, so I was really looking forward to that, but I think he might be just coming in for Toronto, which is all right. I mean, I would have loved to see him live, but I think New York is getting the better show overall anyway, so I'm kind of okay with that. So we get to see just Kushida, who is great in his own right. I really think that he's just evolved so much over the past couple of years. And he gets to face someone like Lethal. It's going to be a high-impact match. I actually could see this opening the show. Based off of the matches that have already been announced, it probably should. And I think it could really get the crowd hot. I think that Lethal's new heel-found persona could really work well against a guy like Kushida in his offense. And really, Kushida could use a little bit more of that high style that he has and could really just beat Lethal within an inch of his life. And I feel like that would be very entertaining. And I feel like Kushida could go on top here with a win. Even though it is a World TV Championship, I feel like at the end of the day, Martini's going to help Lethal and screw Kushida out of the title. But I feel like that would be a really entertaining match to start the show. And then you got probably a match I'm really looking forward to. Probably another match that I'm predicting here based off of a Toronto result in Nakamura and Steen. I think when I originally put my card predictions on Twitter, I wanted Nakamura Hero, and I would love to still see that. But if Hero's not coming in for either one of these shows, which it looks like he's not, the next best person I would want against Nakamura is Steen. And that's because a lot of the Ring of Honor talent wouldn't do well against someone with Nakamura's style. And not that Nakamura is that much different from everyone in New Japan, but with how Nakamura just uses his offense, especially the Bumaye, I don't feel it would have the same effect against someone who isn't a little bit of a larger wrestler, someone who doesn't normally have that Ring of Honor build, and therefore there's no better example of that on today's roster than a guy like Kevin Steen, who's just super over, probably the most over guy in the company. I feel like they could put on a hell of a match. That should probably be the match to go into intermission, especially if you want to separate someone like Okada and Elgin, which is like basically two of the top heavyweights in each company going head to head. I feel that would really be great. I feel like Steen could probably use a little bit more of his comedy on a guy like Nakamura and piss him off, and it could just lead into just a more of a brawl. Steen can do either, and it's proven that Nakamura. There was a time, and especially when I was more making videos, I was very down on Nakamura, and not that that's completely gone out of the window, but I feel like Nakamura in ring, when he just has an in ring, like especially against a guy like Kevin Steen, could do a lot, and maybe because I just loved Goto so much, and usually they face Nakamura and Goto. That's where the not the hate, but just the resentment for Nakamura happened. And now that they don't face as much anymore, I've seen that Nakamura can actually hold his own in the ring. And my complaint with him was never that he couldn't wrestle. He was a very good wrestler. I think his offense was a little bit one dimensional, and he's evolved that ever since. And a guy like Steen could really make a really great match out of him. And just like Nakamura can bring the best out of Steen. So I'm really, really looking forward to that match. And then the last match that was announced, and the controversial match that everybody's been talking about, not in a controversial sense, is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Michael Bennett. Now, a lot's already been said, and it's when you bring in probably the most known guy on the card, maybe outside of Jushin Liger from Japan, in Hiroshi Tanahashi over. And you put him against someone like Michael Bennett, you know there's going to be a little bit of a back and forth with that. But I really don't understand. I really don't understand the hate of that Michael Bennett doesn't deserve this opportunity. For one, he's been on the Ring of Honor roster for years, and you got to pull the trigger on giving him a big match like this at some point or another. And now, with that said, is this the time to pull that trigger? I say no. But there are people much smarter wrestling minds than me that get to decide this thing, and I really hope that Bennett shows up and really gets to prove himself against a guy who probably could have had a better just in-ring match against someone else. And the two names that are still sitting waiting to hear a match are AJ Styles and Roderick Strong, and then one of them could have easily been in here in that place and could have done a better job. And outside of that, if you're going to pull the trigger on a guy, why not ACH in this situation instead of Mike Bennett and against a guy like Tanahashi? If that's really the route you want to go and sit Styles and Strong for something else, then I don't know why ACH isn't the guy here. But with that said, maybe I think the X Factor in this match is going to be Maria. Now, that's something that Tanahashi never has in Japan, is like a girl ballet tripping him up. During the match, like Maria usually gets involved in Mike Bennett's matches. And I feel like Mike Bennett's style could actually work very well against Tanahashi. Tanahashi has the offense of a junior, in a sense, or has the dimensions of a versatile offense that could work well against a junior or a heavy. And so the Ring of Honor roster doesn't really have a guy, maybe now outside of AJ, that really can do that very well, even though I think that a lot of the roster could bring a lot out of Tanahashi. Tanahashi has to be the star of this match. Even though I feel like a star versus star match would be great here, someone like a Tanahashi needs to shine through. And I feel like they could have done that against Strong. And the reason I would prefer him over AJ if they had gone that route is because I've already seen Tanahashi and Styles in TNA at the World X Invitational in 2006, if I have that right. But it'd be nice to see this anyway. But I still think that Bennett, given this opportunity, this is make or break for you, bud. You do well here, I think you'll see a lot of promise from it. You don't do well here, I think you need to go. This is your make or break match, and I think he knows that. And there's a lot of things. He's had a lot of things on Twitter saying, "You're doing something. If you don't have any critics, you're doing something wrong." And I do agree with that. But I really hope he pulls it out here. He's got to pull out all the stops and put on the best Ring of Honor match he's ever had on this night. And he's a safe wrestler in the ring. He has an offense that Tanahashi isn't usually used to. So if he uses that in a unique way, we probably will get a unique match here. So I can't say I'm highly looking forward to it, but I'm still very thankful that Tanahashi's coming in. And I know that I get to see New Japan Live for the first time, a lot of these guys. And when I missed it in 2011, I vowed that I wouldn't miss it again, and I'm not. So I'm very happy. If anyone's there, I believe I'm sitting with Big Rat 310 and Trademark 269 at the show, which is actually the two people I sat with at Best in the World 2011 when Davey won the world title from Eddie. So just about 3 years later, we're all coming back. This time, I'm not the only one in college, and those two are in high school. I think I'm almost getting out of college, and those two are in it. So it's very nice to see just how the YouTube community can grow. A lot of us are going to be at this show. Instant Classic 8 is going to be there. I believe a couple others, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone. Hopefully, we all can meet up and stuff, just like we always have. And if you're going to be at the show, please come up to me. I mean, I still want to meet a lot of you guys. You can ask me about what's everything's been going on with my life and everything if you want to know. But with the rest of the card that could happen, I believe the one thing that isn't on the show yet is New Japan talent facing each other, and I'd like to see that in person. So that leaves Jado and Jito, and then the Forever Hooligans, Taiki Watanabe, and then that's it. And we don't have a 6-man tag on the show yet, so I'm thinking Jado, Jito, and Watanabe can be a team against the Hooligans and like ACH. I think it would be a great match, and then you can put Styles in there with Strong, maybe. Maybe you can do like Styles versus ACH, and then you can put against Hooligans and Watanabe. Maybe you can put as the partner for Romero and Kozlov. You can do because that'd be the face team. You want to put a face in there, maybe like Cedric Alexander, and you can have maybe like a 6-man mayhem with the rest of the guys on the card and do well. So give me your thoughts on this, guys. Great to talk to you again as always, and I will see you later.